Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 6 p.m. and I would like to say that my name is Bill Schatzel. I am a councilman just like my colleagues here, and I'm also the mayor pro tem for fiscal year 25, which we're just about ending. And Mayor Hinkle is out of town, so I will be running the meeting tonight, and we'll go through the agenda. But first, I'd like to ask everyone to please rise, and Councilman Stauffer will lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Lord, we do thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for a city that we can serve in. We thank you for, Lord, residents that come to the meetings and participate in the process. And we just ask that you'd watch over the mayor as he's gone, watch over every one of the city employees as they are very hard workers doing the work here that needs to get done. Thank you for the city council and the city manager, city clerk, and many others that are so busy doing the things we need to get done. Lord, we pray right now that you'd have a meeting that would glorify thee, be decent and in order. And we pray all this in Jesus' name for his sake. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. I'm calling the meeting to order now, and I'll have a roll call starting with Mr. Stauffer.
Here.
Mr. Rominger.
Present.
Mr. Schatzel's here. Ms. Alley.
Here.
And Mr. Tolbert.
Here.
And let the record reflect that the mayor is absent due to business out of town. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda with any additions or deletions. And Mr. Dietz.
Good evening, Council. There's two requests I'd like to make. Number one, I would like to add one additional certificate of appreciation to Section D. And then also I would respectfully request that we move item at H3 up to right after the awards, proclamations, and presentations, as the gentleman who's here to give that presentation has a early morning flight tomorrow, so I'd like to get him out of here and not have to sit through the making of sausage tonight, if we could, please.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda changes. Mr.
Tolbert, motion to approve.
And I'll second. So, Mr. Stauffer.
Yes.
Mr. Rominger.
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel's yes. Ms. Alley.
Yes.
And Mr. Tolbert.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion by the council? Any discussion by the audience? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Tolbert?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel's yes, and Mr. Rominger,
Yes.
and Mr. Tolbert.
Stauffer, yes.
I'm sorry, Stauffer. I'm sorry.
We're both Doug.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is awards proclamation and presentation, and I would like to say I'm going to have an award presented to an individual, and one of the most rewarding and enjoyable acts is coming before the audience here as a mayor or mayor pro tem, and to recognize individuals within our community that stand out because of their commitment, their involvement, and their dedication. They are not satisfied with the status quo of life. They are perfect role models for others to follow because they lead, they are involved, and they give back to the community. And they do this with the support of their family and the organizations they are involved with. So I am going to come down the podium at this time, and I'll call the individual up who is receiving the award. Okay, so tonight, on behalf of the Regional Mustang Club of the Emerald Coast, I would like to recognize Mr. Tom Barefoot. Very few individuals rise to the position of club president and still at the time are dedicated to efforts to support so many local charities while still working full-time. Would you please come forward, Tom? And I will say that Tom is a retired Chief Master Sergeant, which will be also noted in the citation I'm going to read. But one individual described Tom as, there are a lot of E9s, which anybody with a military background knows an E9 is the highest enlisted rank in the Air Force, but there are very few chiefs. Tom was a chief. So I'd like to read the citation. It's going to take a couple minutes to read it. And if his family is here, is Tom's family here? Okay, I would like to ask you to also come forward. The citation reads as follows. Tom Barefoot has called Niceville home since 2013. A remarkable individual who embraces individuality over conformity. Tom is known for his proactive nature and an unwavering commitment to leadership. This drive led him to achieve the highest enlisted rank as Chief Master Sergeant before retiring honorably from the United States Air Force. In June of 2019, Tom joined the Emerald Coast Regional Mustang Club. And true to form, he stepped into a leadership role rather than simply participating. As president, he revitalized the club, transforming it from a traditional car club into a dynamic, community-driven organization. Under Tom's leadership, the club has become a powerful force for good, raising and donating more than $10,000 each year to support local charitable causes. Beneficiaries of this generosity include the Emerald Coast Wildlife Refuge, Children in Crisis, Stutters Children's Hospital, Angel Tree Fisher House, Niceville Autism School, and the Okaloosa Vo-Tech and Cancer Freeze. Tom's dedication extends beyond organized charity. He and his fellow club members raised $1,500 in honor of the fallen Walton County Deputy William May, demonstrating compassion in times of local tragedy. A devoted family man and outstanding role model, Tom also inspired his children to participate in Ohama Day, where they helped raise funds for the Sushi Mike Ledford family. Their collective efforts have raised over $101,000 to date. Tom's passion is contagious, inspiring those around him to reach higher and do more. His leadership is a cornerstone of the Mustang Club's continued success in supporting our local community. On behalf of the Mayor, Mayor Dan Hinkle, I am honored to present Tom Barefoot with his 2025 Community Champion Award. His selfless service and unwavering dedication make Niceville a better place to live, raise a family, and proudly call home. Congratulations, Tom. Let me read this. It says the 2025 Charity Champion Award presented to Tom Barefoot in honor of your outstanding dedication, unwavering support of local charitable causes, making our community a better place to live. Congratulations again.
They didn't get all gussied up for nothing, which was a surprise to me.
Why don't you come over this way?
Anyone right here, please?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you too.
go? Good to go. Appreciate you. Guys.
I would like to say of the Regional Mustang Club members that are here, if you would like to depart and not stay for our entire meeting, you're welcome to leave. If you want to stay, we'd love to have you. I'm going to give them about 30 seconds to clear the room. Okay, go back to the agenda. Mr. Dykes, you had wanted to recognize an award for an individual, so I'll give the agenda to you for doing that.
All right, sir. Well, council, as you know, we had two interns with us this summer, and so both of them did phenomenal work. One of them's here tonight that I'd like to recognize. She is a Niceville native, an FSU undergrad student going into her sophomore year, but an aspiring law student. Despite my best efforts, I could not dissuade her from wanting to do that. But I'll tell you, Marianne Rushman served with us over the course of the summer and was just an absolute dynamo. She is a brilliant young lady who's got a phenomenal head on her shoulders, but a phenomenal career ahead of her, because she's just absolutely brilliant. So while she was here, I had her doing a lot of legal research. I had her researching ordinances on smoking in the parks, animal control, underground and utilities. She created a compendium of all the new laws that were passed at the last state legislative session. She researched impact fees, credit card fees, short-term rentals. She looked into the Triumph Gulf Coast to see how we could utilize Triumph Gulf Coast for the benefit of our Niceville residents. She helped prepare the fiscal year prepare us for the fiscal year 2026 budget workshops. She had the opportunity to go around and meet a bunch of attorneys. They too tried to dissuade her to no effect. Shanitra, our PIO, put together a job interview panel for both of our interns, and so she navigated that with precision and maturity. We also we provided education. Again, Shanitra did this with the help of Danielle, our HR director, just educating both of our interns on taxes and what is FICA and Social Security and all the people who dip into our paychecks every day. Danielle and Shanitra provided Marianne with a little bit of a background education on that. So I just wanted to say, Marianne, it was a pleasure working with you this summer. I wish you all the best. You're absolutely brilliant. You're absolutely phenomenal. And we were blessed to have you on this team, on our team this year. So if you want to come up, I've got a certificate of appreciation for you.
We have an attorney in waiting, is that the right term? Marianne, thank you for what you've done for the city. Thank you for what you've done for Mr. Dyson being his, can I say right-hand man? And a lot of these
Right-hand woman.
The right-hand woman.
And I'll tell you, Council, many of the things that she worked on, you will see in the coming months, all the ordinances that I just referenced. You will see those, and all the hard work was done by Marianne.
Marianne, thank you, and we wish you the best in your next semester at school.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Deitch, you wanted to move also the H3?
Yes, sir, if we could, please. So, Council, I have Cameron Lee here with us tonight from Diamond Communications. And what I'm requesting is just authorization to the council to enter negotiations with Diamond Communications to set up, it's not to contract for them to put cell towers in our town yet, but to enter into a contract so that Diamond Communications will market our properties to telecommunication companies. And then, you know, if those telecommunication companies want to work with Diamond and us, Diamond will build the towers, and then AT&T and Verizon and whoever else could put their communication systems on. This will enhance the quality of life of our residents by expanding cell phone coverage across our city. But this is the first step. So Cameron's here just to talk through the proposal. But again, all we're looking for tonight, council, is just your authorization for us to enter negotiations with Diamond Communications. So Cameron, take it away.
Good evening. Cameron Lee, Site Acquisition Manager of Diamond Communications, 75 Northwest 1st Avenue, Delray Beach, Florida, 33444. As David mentioned, I do come before you today with a proposal that we have here for the city. So just to dive into my presentation, and I'll do signals. So the objectives are really just to give some broad information about who we are as a company, to go over the wireless coverage analysis that we did conduct here for the city, as well as just some other key relationships and appendixes here for the presentation. So getting into about Diamond. We were founded in 2006. We are one of the largest privately owned tower companies here in the country. I want to say we are roughly the 5th largest tower provider here in the country as well. You know, we have about 150 employees. We manage and own over 4,000 tenanted sites. And under our marketing program, which is essentially our pitch to you guys here today, we have 450,000 sites that are currently managed. So again, what I'm here for today is to basically a request for an opportunity to market your city-owned properties to the wireless carriers for wireless infrastructure development. So again, our proposition here to the city is not only are we looking to provide you guys a long-term revenue stream for your properties, but to also enhance your wireless coverage here in the city. So this is just getting into the analysis. To go over what the carriers use as their metric system, this basically determines their strength of coverage, right? It's kind of simple. To make it simpler for you, red is obviously going to be unreliable coverage. Green and orange is going to be, yellow and orange is going to be okay coverage, and then green is obviously excellent coverage. So here's just a summary, and the way they measure their coverage is by dBMs. So anything greater than negative 100 dBm is unreliable coverage, and anything less than negative 100 dBm is considered good coverage. So here, the overall carrier coverage throughout your city. I want to say Verizon, AT&T are on the brink of kind of having reliable and unreliable coverage. And then T-Mobile technically has unreliable coverage for you guys here in the city. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile have more reliable coverage in the northeast area of the city that is adjacent to Parton Drive North, and in the center portion of the city that is surrounding East Johnson Parkway. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile have unreliable coverage, mainly here in the southern portion of the city and the easternmost area of the city that is approaching our Route 20. And then this, you see here, this is a map of Verizon's coverage. So as you see here, kind of surrounding the outer of the city limits, there's unreliable coverage here for Verizon. Next one. AT&T, kind of the same story. And then same thing here with T-Mobile, but as I was kind of explaining earlier, Verizon and AT&T have slightly better coverage than T-Mobile here. But mainly, again, the most southern portions of here in the city, as well as the outer, most eastern area of the city, have all unreliable coverage.
And Council, I just want to highlight, if you've noted in all three of these graphs, that Deer Moss Creek area is green because there is no coverage in Deer Moss Creek. And then, like Cameron said, down south, you can see it's orange and red, so.
In any areas that you see here that don't have any shading over it, that means that there is no data from the carriers to kind of show that they have unreliable coverage there, because no phones are basically going in that area. The way it works is these carriers, once you get to a point where you don't have reliable cell service or your cell coverage drops, that actually sends data to the wireless carriers, so they, obviously analyze which areas where they need better cell coverage. So that's why you see here on the maps, like wherever there's no shading, that means that there simply just isn't data there because nobody brings their phone over there. So this is just all the carriers' coverage maps kind of blended into one map. Really, again, those are the kind of 4 areas where the cell coverage can be significantly improved. It's basically the same thing I said in the last slide. So one property that you guys do have that we are interested in is going to be parcel ID 02-1S-20-002-003. This is kind of on the most eastern portion here in your city. As you can see here, the cell coverage for all 3 carriers is very unreliable. So essentially what we would like to do is the opportunity to market this property to the wireless carriers. Once we ultimately get a hit, that's when we would approach you and look into enter into some sort of real estate transaction, such as a lease agreement, and ultimately build a wireless infrastructure, being a cell tower for here in the city to improve coverage in that area. The next location that we are interested in.
Cameron, pause 1 second. Council, just for clarity, that site right there is our 2-acre parcel in Deer Moss Creek where we're putting the water tower.
The next location is going to be parcel ID 06-1S-22-40-0023-0030. This is the water tank that you guys own off of West College Boulevard, I believe. And that is an existing water tower in which we would like to market that water tank to the carriers for a co-location, meaning for them to attach their wireless equipment or antennas on top of the water tank. So as you can see here, let's go back to the last slide. Verizon's coverage is a little bit better here. That's because they are co-located on a nearby tower. T-Mobile is not, and AT&T is, but kind of what we're seeing here in this location is that since it is right next to the university, the future growth in the area will likely prompt another need for some sort of wireless infrastructure, whether it's building a new tower or again attaching to an existing piece of infrastructure, being your water tank. So this kind of just goes over the next steps and really what we're looking to do here today. Diamond wants the exclusive rights to basically market the city-owned properties. Now, I did point out 2 properties that are kind of attractive for us and that we could see being a need in the near future. But ultimately, we would be open to marketing all your city-owned properties to the carriers. Just because we have a hit, let's say, if this site marketing agreement doesn't confine you in any sort of way to actually build a tower on the property. It's basically what we would do is add all of your city properties to our portfolio, and we would market those to the carriers every single month. The carriers, they typically have our portfolios in all their databases. So the first thing that they do when they look to improve cell coverage in a given area is look for 2 things. One is going to be existing towers in the area. If there are no existing towers, they decide that okay, we need to develop new infrastructure. So then they look at all the tower companies' portfolios and see if they have anything in the works there. If they have any managed properties or if they're already building a site that's maybe not quite through zoning and permitting, in which they'd be interested in going on that. And the last thing is obviously, reaching out to property owners, reaching out to private landlords. So really having a sort of a relationship with the property owner, whether it's public or a private property owner, it always streamlines the process for the carriers, and the carriers really care about time frames. So again, like as I mentioned, really what they look for when they, have a search area where they're looking to, place a new cell tower is exactly that, existing infrastructure and any build-to-suit tower companies like ourselves, with managed properties in that area. And then this appendix is just kind of going over some of our key relationships that we have. So what we did with the city of Palm Coast is back in 2017, they hired us to basically do a wireless analysis and to ultimately work with their city department, city planning department hand in hand to create what's called a wireless master plan. So basically what we did is the same kind of wireless coverage analysis for all their city-owned properties. Now they do own a lot more properties than you guys, but we identified, hey, look, these are all the areas that is lacking coverage for you guys here in the city. Here's where your city properties are overlaid on those gaps. And basically identified, I want to say 20 plus city-owned properties that are basically, attractive to the wireless carriers. And what they did was they created a wireless master plan. This wireless master plan is basically pre-approved city-owned properties in which if a cell tower company were to approach them, it's already pre-approved so they wouldn't have to go through zoning and permit. It would be just a streamlined process to a building permit. So we did have the exclusive site marketing agreement with them, but our agreement has since expired because of the change out in their councilman and mayor there. But this is just kind of a prime example of municipalities that we've worked with to basically create this partnership, enhance wireless coverage here in the city, and ultimately provide you guys more revenue. And this is all just kind of general information about what I've discussed. Next one, the next one. So why Diamond? Like I said, mainly our pitch here today is to not only improve wireless coverage for you guys, but ultimately, provide revenue streams for properties. And, again, cell coverage in our day and age, especially as time goes on, it's more and more of a need, and it's kind of, at this point, the fourth utility. Cell coverage, again, everybody lives on their phone nowadays, and having cell coverage is really an essential service at this point. So with that being said, I welcome any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys may have.
I'll start off. Thank you for the presentation. It's kind of a twofold. So you're a third party here brokering for cell towers to come into the city?
No, I work for the cell tower company directly. The way it works is the cell tower, or the carriers don't build their own towers anymore. They rely on build-to-suit tower companies like us. So we basically would be the owner, builder, and operator of the cell tower, and then we sublease space on the tower to the carriers.
Okay, because that was kind of my question. It sounds like what you're doing is you're creating a demand, or uncovering a demand, when I would think the carriers would say, hey, we've got gaps here, then we need to fill in with cell towers. So what you're saying is carriers don't even manage their own towers anymore.
Yep, no, they do not. Yep. So the way it works is the carriers, they do it two different ways. Sometimes they assign the search ring, search area to which they're looking to build the new tower, either to us directly, or they assign it to a site acquisition vendor that they hire. Let's say they do it the second way, which is they assign it to one of their vendors, a site acquisition consultant. That consultant then, reaches out to all the viable property owners in that search area. They negotiate a ground lease, and once the deal's signed, they basically assign that ground lease to a build-to-suit tower company like us. And we essentially take over, we manage, own, and operate the cell tower, and then we sublease space on the tower to the carriers. The carriers, I want to say, back in the early 2000s, is kind of when they pivoted from building their own towers. The reason why is because zoning ordinances have kind of caught up and basically required towers to share space, right, to other wireless carriers. Since these towers had to be shared, does Verizon want to share their tower to AT&T? Probably not, and kind of became a conflict of interest. So that's why they started relying on build-to-suit tower companies like us, and ultimately it was more of a cost thing as well. They have found that it's more efficient for them and their business to lease space on a tower rather than managing, owning, and operating the tower. Because that's a whole separate division, that's a whole separate business itself. But we, Diamond, would be the owner, builder, operator of the cell tower, and then we would sublease space on the tower to the carriers.
Any other questions from council?
I have a question. So one of the potential locations says Red Maple Way.
Says what, I'm sorry?
Red Maple Way, which is a huge housing development.
Yes.
And so I can see that potentially being a problem. Who wants to look at a cell tower in the front of their house? So, the other question I have for you is, did you guys do the towers in Defumia?
We may have. We have thousands of towers across the country, so I'm not sure of that specific site, but regarding your question, like I said, this site marketing agreement would not, obligate you guys to, have the tower on the property at all. Essentially, we would just market it to the carriers. Once we have a hit, we would obviously let you know, and we would basically do a site visit. We would create a site plan. You guys would all review and approve it, and then from there, we would enter into a formal ground lease for actually building the tower. But the marketing of your properties does not obligate you guys to have a tower on that property in any sort of way.
I did notice you had 450,000 properties
Yes.
under your marketing plan.
Yep.
What percentage of those are actually leased?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I will say it's pretty frequent. One of our major,
So you said you had 4,300 in Florida, so I multiply that by, I'll give you that many for each 50 states, which is
Yep.
sub 50%.
Yep.
So what's the advantage of us marketing with you versus direct marketing?
I mean, you guys can always directly market, but the thing is, the carriers don't, they don't build their own towers, right? So you would just come through a tower company just like us, in which they would do the same thing. They would negotiate a ground lease with you and all that good stuff. I mean, ultimately, our marketing plan, I want to say the success rate is probably well over 25%. And a lot of sites that we do manage, so for example, the United Methodist Churches, we are their exclusive partnership, or exclusive tower builders, in which we market all the churches across the entire nation. We get a hit on those, I want to say, every 2 weeks, to where they'll engage. Sometimes that church doesn't work because it's either not zoning compliant, or the property's too small, or the local church just isn't interested in having a tower on the property. But I want to say, for that portfolio specifically, we get a hit every 2 weeks from carrier. Another one of our major partners is going to be Georgia Power and Mississippi Power. So we are their exclusive tower builders, not only for their communications equipment for Southern Link, but also for the marketing of their substations to the wireless carriers. That also, I want to say, we get a hit on those every 2 weeks. Now, granted, a lot more properties, right, than you guys own. So I can't really answer the question of whether we'll have a hit, tomorrow, next year, in a couple years. But based off, all the data that we have today, those 2 locations I pointed out, is a future need for the carriers.
Okay, our city attorney, Mr. Stephen Hall, has a question.
Sorry, I slipped in a little late and I may have missed it.
No problem.
You brought a case study with the city of Palm Coast.
Yes.
So I assume you're familiar with it and can answer some questions about it.
Yeah.
How about sharing with the city council the compensation structure,
Sure.
say on a particular piece of property or a particular tower site?
Yep.
And how it gets split, how the compensation gets developed between the city and you as the manager?
Sure. So essentially, what we have laid out in the contract and what we're offering is, rather than just a flat rate, rent, we're offering a revenue share of 50%, which is pretty standard with municipalities. Ultimately, whatever Diamond makes on the tower, the city receives 50% of. So that is what we're offering for new tower builds. For managing your existing infrastructure, such as the water tank, I believe the split there was 75% you guys, 25% us.
So 50 where you build it and own the infrastructure based on the ground lease with us, 75 on infrastructure that's already in place, that's a utility-based water tower? Or...
Yes, so for new tower builds, it's 50%, right? And there's no cost on you guys. We obviously endure all the costs associated with the development of the tower.
What do you find is the lease term on an average Verizon?
Sure. Yep, so I just want to get into that. Yep. Typically, the carriers in this market pay us between, I want to say, $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And they also have an annual escalator of, I want to say, 2% to 3% annually. So you guys will basically receive 50%.
For how long?
I want to say it's typically 25 plus years. These are long-term contracts.
How long did the lease agreements work for you with Palm Coast?
I mean, very well.
How long were they?
Well, some deals we did back in 2017 were a little bit different,
Yeah.
but I want to say they're about 25 to 30 years.
Okay. So 25 or 30 years on the ground lease, you load it up the best you can with individual
With all the
tenants,
carriers,
antennas, again, at a 20 to 25-year lease. What happens with the tower or the infrastructure that you've constructed at the end of the lease, end of the ground lease?
We come and take it down and restore the property to its original condition.
Gotcha. And then-
Some jurisdictions, when we go through planning and zoning, I don't know if you guys have this requirement, but they actually make us issue them a tower removal bond.
Yeah.
So it's pretty standard.
You ever leave the infrastructure behind?
Well, no, because we issue a tower removal bond. So they have the, financials to take it down.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And council, I would also add, I spoke with a couple of Cameron's competitors. The revenue sharing option is much more financially beneficial to the city. All the other companies just would offer a ground lease and not a revenue sharing, and so it would be a flat $1,200 a month for the duration of the lease, whereas here, we could potentially get significantly more revenue for the exact same activity at no expense to the city, but to benefit the city, the residents, both financially and with enhanced cell phone services across the city.
Yeah, their success is our success.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have one more question. What would motivate any of the carriers to do this?
Sure, so as I kind of mentioned before, once they see, so like in their search area, right, the first thing, again, they look for is existing towers. Once they've ruled out existing towers, then they decide, okay, we need a new cell tower in this area. They look at the portfolios of all their major build-to-suit vendor tower companies. We are one of their major build-to-suit providers. So they will basically look at anybody that has some sort of managed asset or maybe something that's already in the works with, let's say, another carrier, for example. So sometimes when we're in the process of permitting a existing tower, right, or a new tower, and they see that, hey, like this is in permitting, it's in zoning, they're gonna ask us, what is the space that's available on that tower? Or they'll see our portfolio and see that, this is part of our managed portfolio in which we already have a relationship with. So that typically streamlines the process because, when you go and issue a new search ring and we're just approaching private landlords, that can sometimes take anywhere from, 3 months to 5 years to get a ground lease in that given area. They always look for areas where there is some sort of relationship there with the tower company. And they'll, turn to that person and say, hey, what's the story with this site? I see that's part of your portfolio. Is this something you can expedite for us? And given that we would already have a relationship with the city, being the site marketing agreement, it would kind of be more of a streamlined process to ultimately get the tower on air a lot quicker than normal.
I think you misunderstood my question. My question is, why would the carriers, what would motivate them to spend more money to go onto a tower? I guess what would be
What do you mean more money?
Well, they're gonna pay you to put an antenna up on the tower,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what would motivate them to do that,
Mhm.
and spend the money to do that? I guess what's the,
Oh, sorry about that.
gets them
Okay.
to do that?
Okay, yes.
So, because with the graph that you showed us, they're getting okay coverage. So I
Yeah.
guess what would then motivate them to want more coverage, I guess is what.
Sure. So, I can't answer for the carriers because, their budgeting changes every single year and different areas become different priorities. But typically you can see on the maps, like, they are lacking coverage in certain areas, right? As future development goes on and, you know, more people move into the state, more houses are being built, those are the areas that they mainly target. Now, in more rural areas, you know, they don't quite care about covering, you know, 200 people, right? But with your city, you know, the growth that it's probably going to see in the next 5 to 10 years, you know, it's going to be at some point in need for them. Because ultimately, the carrier one day, all the carriers one day want to cover all of the United States. Now, it's going to take a very long time for that to happen, but again, like, the development that's going on in the eastern portion, for example, that's all going to prompt a very high need for the carriers to be out there. Because once they start receiving calls that, hey, our cell coverage sucks here, you know, there's all these homes, nobody can, you know, make a call, that's when they're going to be like, okay, we need to start funding something for this area.
So what would stop a private citizen with, say, had 1,000 acres to say, call you up and say, hey, I want a tower, I want to lease it, I want some revenue out of it?
Well, a private landlord approaches us all the time. I mean, we have a, you know, contact submission form in which, you know, people ask us, hey, like, is this a need for the carriers? Like, we have a property at such and such. Is this something you guys are interested in? The point here is really, again, like, having something part of the portfolio and part of the marketing program, because when we go and market a site, you know, especially that's on municipal property, typically you have a lot better chance of getting a permit for building a tower on a city-owned property versus a private landlord's property. Because I say that because, you know, a lot of zoning regulations are very strict in certain areas. I'm not too familiar with your code for the city, but going on city property is typically a lot easier in terms of getting the appropriate approvals with their zoning and building department rather than a private landlord.
So you're saying the city just violates their own building codes?
The city grants
Just waives it, say, oh, we're not worried about our codes.
No. They definitely grant variances more often than a private landlord. I will say that.
And sir, to your point, there's nothing stopping a private landowner from doing this. Most private landowners won't, and the private landowner on the east side of town that we're talking about has been approached by a number of different companies and rejected them all because the value of the property is way too high to do this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there's some areas.
The biggest competition that they've got in the south part of these counties here are condominium buildings.
Right.
Multi-story condos where the HOA is cutting a deal to put antenna sites on the top of the towers. So that's an example of a private competition. One more question.
Yep.
Your tower stuff is it just the cellular antennas, or you also go into low power internet?
So what we typically do, our towers are mainly designed, you know, for the major wireless carriers. We do offer, you know, co-location space to other, you know, local broadband companies, FM companies, but mainly we target the carriers. Those are our main clients. Now, what we also do for, you know, any tower that's on a government-owned property, whether it's federal, you know, county, city, village, town, we offer, you know, free co-location space of your emergency equipment for E911, police, fire on the tower. So that's also a benefit to a lot of these towers going on government properties, that they have, you know, a tower that they can attach their equipment on free of charge.
All right, I have a few questions for you, if I may.
Yes, sir.
So, to summarize this, it's either right out of the ground level up for a tower, or you're asking to put it on existing, like, city water towers. Is that correct?
Essentially what we're asking is just to market all your properties for both. Whether you guys have a water tank there, whether you have a tall building there, which you probably don't, or whether you just have vacant land in which you have space for a cell tower. We're looking to market it all. Now, for a new tower build, if it's you know, us building a brand new cell tower or building the infrastructure, the split is 50%, meaning you guys get 50% of whatever we make. If it's existing infrastructure, for example, the water tank, it would be 75-25, and we're essentially just the managers of that infrastructure for the carriers. A lot of municipalities do not have experience with dealing with the wireless carriers. You know, we ultimately, like, when we enter into a ground lease with the carrier, right, to install our equipment on our towers, we bound them by an exhibit, meaning we limit them to the number of antennas they install, cabinets, cables, all that. So anytime that they want to, let's say, install a new antenna on our tower, we charge them more money for that. So you guys would essentially see the same increases as well. We would basically just be your experienced managers of that infrastructure to maximize your revenue from a wireless carrier.
So if you're going to use a city-owned water tower as an example.
As an example, yep.
Okay, so obviously the tower exists, and you're going to have to run power. You're going to have to, up there, you're going to have to maintain it somehow. But the city also maintains these water tanks. They do flushes, they do cleaning, they do painting and everything else. So how has that coordination been done with cities that you've worked with?
Well, essentially the carriers will be responsible for the maintenance, right? We're just their,
But now, I'm not talking about the tower, that the antenna system that sits on top of the water tank.
yes.
I'm talking about our public works individual writing back to you, what headings are you going to be giving him to work around an existing tower structure on top of his water tank?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, once we get a hit on that water tank, for example, we're going to work hand in hand with all your departments, on the engineering aspect of installing their equipment on the water tank. Also with locating the ground equipment, in a place that's easily accessible and doesn't interfere with any of the operations. Same thing with the location of the antennas. We're going to work hand in hand with all your departments to ensure that, essentially this is an efficient installation, doesn't interfere with your operations or your maintenance. Now again, if we get a hit on the water tank, it doesn't obligate you guys in any sort of way to move forward. Essentially, again, we would just design something and you guys would kind of determine if that works for you or not.
Okay, the next question I have, as you know, we're very close to Eglin Air Force Base. We also have a private airport here. And we have Lifeline helicopters flying around occasionally in EMS rescue situations. So towers like this would be undoubtedly put on aeronautical charts or GPS systems, but what is the height that you're allowed to build a tower to?
Well, that is dictated by your Land Development Code, one. Two, also by the FAA. So there are FAA and FCC protocols that we do go through. So the first thing we do with the FAA is the airspace study. We basically see if we're a hazard to air navigation or not. We also go through the FCC for approvals of the licenses that the carriers install their equipment, under which the frequencies they operate under. So there's a whole process that we go through with the FAA and with the FCC. Towers over 199 feet have to be lit. Sometimes if you're close enough to an airport or within the runway, the FAA can actually limit us to a certain amount of height, right? So let's say there's property that we market, we get a hit, we're moving forward with there, and we do our airspace study, the FAA may come back and say, whoa, you can only build something up to 80 feet here. So all that will be kind of overseen by the FAA. Regarding your question about the military bases, we do have towers on military bases. Now, typically what they do there, it's very strict with accessing the site if it's on the military base property, or if it's in close proximity to the airport base. They really only let T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T install their equipment on the tower. They don't let Joe and Bob's cell phone company install their equipment on the tower. Everything is very regulated by the FCC, of course, when you're in proximity to the Air Force Base. So really there wouldn't be a concern. That kind of all would be to be determined once we go through the FAA and FCC procedures.
Are we ready? I was going to ask one question, then ready for the motion is what I was going to ask. But so basically working with you, a professional company that has a lot of experience, you're going to jump all through all the hoops. And all we're doing right now is making a motion so that the city manager can negotiate with you.
Yeah.
Are we ready for a motion? I will make a motion.
I think so. I'm looking for a motion first.
I just want to make the motion that the city manager can enter the negotiations for site marketing agreement with Diamond Communications.
Second.
Okay. And anybody from the audience want to come forward first on this subject? Yes, ma'am. Could you come forward, please, and state your name and your address and your question?
Yes, Judy Boudreau, 2423 Duncan Drive. My question was, you very quickly went over the cost to put the tower up. Who takes care of that cost?
We do.
Who did? I heard you say percentages.
Ma'am, there was absolutely no cost to the city ever on this deal.
Okay, I thought I heard something. Thank you for your presentation.
Well, in relation to that with Judy's question, so the cost of building the tower, does that then lower the profits that we would participate in? I mean, does that get capitalized, or how does that cost affect our profit?
Yes, so great question. You know, typically what kind of deteriorates the cost of a tower is if we have to stealth the tower. So if we have to build, let's say, a tower that looks like a tree, that's going to double our cost than a normal cell tower. You know, sometimes we do like to kind of cap it out, but you know, we could probably work something out in the negotiations to where it's just 50% no matter what.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
I got you.
So that's up to our city manager.
Yes.
Okay, no one else in the audience, council, have a motion and a second, so Mr. Tolbert, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
And Mr. Schatzels, yes. Mr. Rominger?
Yes.
And Mr.
Stoffer.
Stoffer,
Yes.
thank you. Too many times. Thank you. Mr. Stoffer, and how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. All right, that takes care of the rearranging of our agenda. Let's move on with the next item. Wendy, I guess we're going down to item number 8E as an effort.
You're making amendments to the comprehensive plan, ordinance number 25XXXX. Request approval to transmit the proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan to the appropriate state and federal agencies for review. An ordinance of the city of Niceville, Florida, providing for substantive and technical amendments to chapters 10 and 14 of the comprehensive plan pertaining to infrastructure and capital improvements, deleting chapter 6 of the comprehensive plan pertaining to concurrency, non-substantively amending chapter 18 pertaining to the private property rights and providing for enforcement, severability, conflicts, and complications, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Looking for a motion to...
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Okay. Any discussion by the council? This is the second reading of this. I'm sorry, first reading.
First reading, so that's why I was looking for a recap, high level.
High level.
Council, this is our last sections of the comprehensive plan that we needed to update as part of our evaluation and appraisal review process that is mandated by the state every 7 years to update our comp plan. So you have the capital improvements element, the infrastructure element, and then we struck the concurrency element, which a lot of that got moved to the capital improvements, the infrastructure element, so it didn't just go away entirely, and updated the numbering on chapter 18, which is the private property rights element, just to make everything flow together. You have your capital improvement schedule here. That's probably the most important thing that is in this packet, and we are required to have a capital improvement schedule, and we're required to have it adopted into the comprehensive plan. This capital improvement schedule really is typically related to level of service maintenance, so you don't have to put everything in here related to operations and things like that. It's big picture, big ticket items that really relate to land development, the comprehensive plan, growth and development of the city. So you'll see those CRA items that you approved at your last CRA meeting, but then also road projects, parks projects, and water and sewer projects that are anticipated over the next 5 years. So each year when you review the budget, capital projects, then you want to update this capital improvement schedule to match that first year that you approved in your budget. And this does not have to be an amendment to the comprehensive plan. You can just do it by ordinance or resolution, I'm sorry, and send it, you don't have to send it to the state. So it's a special comp plan provision that doesn't have to go through that amendment process. They made one thing easy for us, and that is to help you match it with your budget every year.
Great.
For the record, this plan mirrors what the budget process that we're currently working on is, correct?
Yes, yes. So, and if it doesn't, you can just change this by resolution. If you change your mind about anything during the budget, that's completely driven by you.
Any other questions from council? Hearing or seeing none, anybody in the audience like to come forward on this ordinance reading? Having here and seeing none, I'll go for the council vote. Mr. Stauffer.
Yes.
Mr. Rominger.
No.
Mr. Schatzels, yes. Ms. Alley.
Yes.
And Mr. Tolbert.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go on, Wendy, to the next item, Echo 2, E2, ordinance number 250901.
This is also on first reading, an ordinance of the
A
city.
little louder, please.
And this is also on first reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Niceville, Florida, providing for authority establishing Chapter 21, Record Operation and Services of the Code of Ordinance, as authorized by Chapter 323.002 and 715.07 of the Florida statute, providing for definitions, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council? Mr. Stauffer.
I do. I'm concerned about section 21-8, subsection I on page 6. I think it uses the words preference given. To me, it's vague. One of the things we were trying to do was stay local. I've got a suggested change to it. So here's what it says. There shall be at least 4 qualified towing companies with preference given to businesses within the city. Only if there are less than 4 qualified wrecker operators will a rotation wrecker service outside the city be authorized. What I thought we were moving to was to give the Niceville 2 that we have preference. So how I would like to see that read, for each occurrence, all qualified towing companies located within the city limits shall be utilized exclusively in rotation before an out-of-city towing company is contacted. And what that does is it says every night, every time, you go to those 2 and they rotate like this, and the other 2 at the bottom. So you rotate those 2, you need a third one, you might go outside the city. But my understanding was we were trying to keep everything local by keeping it within the 2 city wrecker services. And I think the preference given to me is too vague. We may understand it now, what our intent is, but for each occurrence, it should stay within the city. To me, that's what it should read.
So your change would be in that is sub I.
Right, subsection I.
Council, before we go any further in discussion, there is no motion on the floor right now for discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve for discussion.
I'll second for discussion.
Thank you.
Council, if you want to change the language, we can do that. It's not a big deal.
And I've got it written down if you just want to take
We'll
this.
take that.
But if it gets approved.
Well, she has to change it, she has to amend her motion to reflect your.
Oh, right. Well, they said for discussion, does that change anything? Has there been a motion that we can go from there, but it's the same
No.
thing either way?
No, because if we were gonna vote, we will either vote it down or up, so.
Okay.
It's a signal that we need to talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this particular ordinance, so.
And I read it all, but the only problem that I have is preference given, but then it mentions 4, and the way that it's written right now is all 4. Preference given is just vague. It doesn't really, I think, convey the intent of the city council. And and that was that we were going, the preference given is to the two within the city, and we don't go outside the city too, unless they're both busy or can't be
Well,
called.
and Councilman, that's what preference means, though. We will work with those two companies first, and if they're unavailable, then we will go outside the city.
I get your
Oh,
point.
and
It doesn't read
is
as
Mullins
all.
on board right now? Oh, White, okay. So we have 3 in the city now?
And
So-
that was my point, is if we limited it to just 2 in consideration of the 2 that we got now, we'd have to change it if we had.
Well, no, and I'm not even saying that, it's 4, so it says, only if there are less than 4 qualified wrecker operators will the rotation wrecker service outside the city be authorized. So 4 outside, but the problem is that do we have anybody out on the rotation now outside the city of Niceville?
No, sir. No, sir.
So it's just the 3 that we're utilizing?
Yes, sir, we have White's, double A, I'm sorry.
Currently, it's White, they just moved into the city. We have Double A, and then we have Roadside.
Well, that doesn't mean, so there shall be at least 4 qualified towing companies. It says there'll be 4, so we have to, you can't limit it to 3, you'd have to go outside the city and put a 4th one on here the way that it's
No.
read.
Well, we may need to rewrite it, but we only have 3 right now. Ideally 4 we would like, but if there's not 4, we'll rotate to 3.
I guess they give a preference though to the city within the city before they have to go outside the city.
Right, we'll always call the 3 that we have first. And if none of them are available, then and only then will we go outside the city.
Yeah, I guess the rotation word to me, if you've got 4 on rotation, 3 are in the city, 1 is outside the city, and you have 4 on rotation, you rotate them. The only way you get it to where it says, where preference given is not vague, is if you delineate and say, all qualified towing companies located within the city limits shall be utilized exclusively in the rotation before an out-of-city towing company is contracted. To me, that's,
See, if we're not putting any non-Niceville companies on rotation, right?
No, sir.
well, then you wouldn't be following the ordinance, because you have to have 4. It says you have to have 4, so you have to have a
Does it
4th
say
one.
4 or does it say maximum of 4?
It doesn't say a maximum, it says,
Says at least 4
It should be
qualified.
at least.
Councilman, let me take your language and take a shot at it.
Okay.
Because I know exactly what you wanted to say.
well then,
So we'll
where
come
are
back.
we?
Okay. One question, so White's Towing, do they actually have a towing and storage here in Niceville? Yes, sir.
And I have a question, will this then supersede or replace the policy that we saw at the last meeting?
No, that's in addition to the policy. The policy will pretty much mirror it, but that's an internal policy.
Okay.
And this is the actual ordinance we wanted to bring forward.
So I understand the need. So to clean this up,
So do you want to withdraw your motion?
withdraw my second.
No, you made the motion, I seconded it.
No, you made the motion, he made the second.
I did.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Withdraw my second. I would like to motion to table pending legal review and re-come back next month.
And do we have any other questions or concerns besides that one? So we don't have to come back and,
That was my only concern for sure. I read the whole thing, it's fine.
anybody else have a specific change in mind?
Okay, then in that case, if we have a motion to withdraw and go back and readdress it and bring it back next month, is that made by Mr. Tolbert?
It is.
And I'll second that. And any further discussion from the audience?
So you gotta vote on the motion to withdraw before you can make a motion, a new motion.
Why?
Yeah.
We withdrew the motion, we withdrew that motion, so you don't have to vote on
You have to
it.
vote.
Withdraw.
If the second is withdrawn as well?
I guess what she's saying is, though you made a motion, he seconded, don't we have to vote that we are
I withdrew
tabling it until
it,
next
though.
month?
right? Okay. I guess I thought you seconded something.
Yeah.
Just the second, I made a new motion.
Your
There's a new
motion,
motion on the table to.
And that's what we need to vote on,
To
correct?
table send it to legal, and come back to us next month.
Right, so that's what I'm asking, we need to vote on that, I thought that's what Kathy was asking.
If I wait to vote on the John's motion.
Exactly.
All right, any further discussion by council? Any further discussion by anyone in the audience? Hearing and seeing none, I'll have council vote, starting with Mr. Stock.
Yes.
Mr. Rominger.
Yes.
Mr. Schatzels, yes. Ms. Sally.
Yes.
And Mr. Tolbert.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to the next item. Wendy?
Well, council, I recommend we continue this another month because this development agreement is still in the works. So I would request that we just continue this motion until September.
F1.
F1.
I'd say yes, it's been advertised.
Are you talking record operation or are you talking
F1.
F1? Okay.
I'll make the motion to move F1 to next month,
For time certain at the following meeting.
sometime starting at the following meeting.
And second that.
Okay. Any discussion by council? Any discussion by anybody in the audience? Okay, let's call for a council vote. We'll start with Mr. Tolbert.
Yes.
And Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzels, yes. Mr. Rominger?
Yes.
And Mr. Stouffer?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, F2, this is on second reading, fee schedule ordinance 25-08-01, an ordinance of the city of Niceville, Florida, providing for an update to the comprehensive fee schedule, providing for certain future fee schedule updates by resolution, providing for authority, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for liberal interpretation, providing for repeal of conflicting codes and ordinances, and providing for an effective date.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I do have a question.
Any discussion by the council? Ms. Alley?
Under the community center, I noticed that there is charges on there for an alcohol permit. Do we have to vote on whether or not we're going to allow alcohol in the community center before we approve this fee structure?
No, ma'am. That's an internal policy. Now, if there is objections from the council to allowing alcohol to be allowed in the community center, that is certainly something that you can discuss, and but there's no need for us to vote on that. That's an internal policy decision.
Any other questions from the council? Anybody in the audience like to address this ordinance? Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to call for the vote. Mr. Tolbert?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzels, yes. Mr. Rominger?
Yes.
And Mr. Stouffer?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, coming down to our reports, Wendy.
Okay, again, good evening, council. The only thing I have for you and for the community is I just want to remind everybody, school started on Monday. And so the school zone speed cameras also started on Monday. And those cameras are running all day long, from 6:30 to 2:50. They are on all day long. And so if you are driving 11 miles an hour or more over whatever speed limit is applicable at the time you're passing through one of those zones, you will get a picture of yourself and a $100 fine in the mail. Again, all day long. So if at 11 o'clock in the morning you're racing over to Pounders to get lunch and going 11 miles an hour or more down Palm or Barton, again, you will get a picture of yourself in the mail. That's all I got, council. And with that, Chief.
Mr. Deitch, I got a comment about the cameras.
Sir.
It seems to be a discrepancy. One sign says between, I think, 6:30 and 2:50, and then that's the far away. Then you get up to the flashing lights, and it only posts
Yes,
during 6:30 to 8, and then
that's
in
all
the
purpose,
afternoon.
sir.
Right, so the comments from the public is well, we've got it designated when school's active, and then we make it as a whole school zone, so in the middle of the day you can get a ticket.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Why is that?
Because that's the way the state law reads. And so the reason there's two signs, again, the first sign says photo enforced in this area, right? and it's photo enforced from 6:30 to 2:50, because that's half an hour before the high school starts, and 2:50 is half an hour after Ruckle lets out. But the school zone is only in effect for both schools 30 minutes before school starts to 30 minutes after school starts, 30 minutes before it lets out to 30 minutes after it lets out. Those are the school zone times. That's why on that second sign you see there's 2 sets of times. During that middle time period, the state recognizes that there are still kids moving about, crossing roads during the school day, and there is here all day long, kids going back and forth across Palm and across Parton. And so what they have done is the speed limit for those particular roads, whatever they are during, say on a Saturday. Out here on Parton, I think it's 25 or whatever it is. That normal posted speed limit during the school day, not during the school zone times, is the speed limit that applies during non-school transient hours. And so it's as if there is a cop sitting there running radar. And so during, again, 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, the speed limit on Parton is 25 miles an hour. If you're going 36, you're getting a ticket. Again, it's no different than having a cop sitting there running radar in his car.
Right. So then why don't we put the flashing lights at the beginning of both of those coming and going all day long?
Because the school zone's not operational all day long. It's only operational before and after school. Again, state law only allows us to have school zones in effect 30 minutes before school starts till 30 minutes after it starts, 30 minutes before let out to 30 minutes after let's out. By state law, school zones are only operational during those 2 periods of time. That time period in the middle, it reverts back to the normal speed limit, but the camera can still stay active, and it's operating as if, again, it's a cop sitting in a car running radar.
Right, but your speed limit is 15 miles an hour.
No, sir, it's not. Again, between the school zone times, during the middle of the day, it's the normal posted speed limit.
Okay.
I think there is an opportunity for our PIO to adjust the statement that went out because it did generate some confusion. And exactly as you have explained it, I think we have the opportunity to re-explain that.
Okay. Well, my explanation is don't speed.
Got that. But I do think there needs to be
For sure. And we will take care of that.
clarification because it did generate.
Well, when you first started reporting saying 600 cars a day, I was like, 600 cars in just that 2-hour window plus, morning,
Yes, sir.
afternoon?
Yes.
That's just a ridiculous amount of
Yes, sir.
traffic. But now that I understand it, it's an all-day affair.
No, sir. That 700 I reported a couple months ago, that was only during the before and after. We did not run it all day long last year. It was 700 speeders in the month of May.
What's our first day count, chief?
I can't tell you, there's about a week delay when it reports to us.
I do have a question though, because I'm very confused about Palm. When it's not the school times, what is the speed limit?
Palm is 25 mile an hour.
Because if you have a 15-mile posted there, and I don't see any other speed limit posted on Palm.
There is, I'll have to confirm.
Very early on.
There is, right as you come off of,
I was very jealously looking to, well, what is the speed limit on
it's
Palm?
right on the right-hand side.
My wife got tailgated all the way down home.
So right at the beginning on each end.
As soon as you turn on the Palm on either end, it's the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, the sign is right there.
Okay, I just don't want to be speeding down Palm, so I just was
Well,
confused.
So here's to the community, what I would prefer, don't drive down those roads at all, if you can avoid it.
Sometimes you need to. Like a
But then when you
Sunday
do,
afternoon.
drive the speed limit.
I guess, I took pictures of that, and it just says speed limit enforced between 6:30 and 2:50 photo. And then, of course, then you got your school zones that show what the flashing lights, the 2 times throughout the day.
And I think those photos like that, clarifying on a public statement would go a long ways to help explain.
We will take care of that, sir.
So it's photo enforced 24/7?
No, sir. No, sir.
The signs are set up that way per statute. You have to identify the first sign, that's why it
So
says
his
here.
sign I just read is correct?
Yes. So
That is correct.
That's
sir.
The
that's the
cam-
first
the
time you
cameras-
see it, right.
So when I sped a little bit on my way over here to the meeting, I didn't get a ticket?
No,
At 6
sir.
o'clock?
No, sir.
Okay.
The cameras,
I'll focus better.
There.
I'll focus better
the
next time.
cameras only operate between 6:30 and 2:50 on a school day. It doesn't work on weekends, school breaks, holidays, anything. It's only during the school day will those cameras operate,
And I'm all for it.
and between 6:30 and 2:50. That's it.
Okay.
So Sunday after church, you're not gonna get hit, unless a cop is in there.
Correct. And now that we know you speed on Sundays, we will have someone out there looking for you.
All right,
You still going, or you might?
have we beat this one to death? Chief?
Let's talk about
I think-
cell towers.
I think
I'm
we're
just
on
waiting to
to
see who the first councilman's gonna have a speed ticket up here.
Mr. Dietz, you have nothing else other than, that, so we're over to the chief.
All right. July 2025 stats for the police department. During the month of July, we responded to 2,339 calls for police assistance. The basic breakdown is 37 traffic crash reports were written. That involved 63 vehicles and 3 pedestrians. Our traffic enforcement consists of 280 traffic citations, in addition to 351 traffic warnings. We had 6 misdemeanor arrests, 7 felony arrests, 6 DUIs. We've also had an additional 4 DUIs just the first week of August.
Can I ask you a question, this first chart?
Ma'am?
It says number of bicycles, and for the first time I see it on this report, did we pull over bicycles, or what is that?
I think that might be a bicycle involved crash. I don't know exactly what you're looking at. I might not have the same paper.
It's an accident involving a bicyclist.
Right. On tows, rotational tows, we had a total of 15, 5 AA, 6 roadside, 4 white record service. Pretty much the stats for right now, but some of the events that we have, just recapping, the 4th of July went well. We had very large crowds, very few incidents. We did have one domestic incident, but it was resolved pretty quickly. The community policing unit participated in the Back to School Resource Fair School Drive. They also assisted with a women's self-defense class with C.D. Williams Karate. We appreciate them. We'll be trying to hold more of these. We have a event tomorrow at the coffee shop where we're going to publicly appreciate the people that donated to the wrap of our van. We'll have the van out there. We'll have photo ops and just basically giving them a good shout out and thanking them for helping us. Tomorrow we have a swearing in of a new corporal and a new sergeant at noon at the police department. Please stop by if you have time. It'll be Corporal Herzig, back here in the back, who's providing our security tonight. And we'll have Sergeant Newby being promoted. So please stop by and join us on that. We're very happy, and a great bunch of people over there. And I'd like to recognize them. And they definitely appreciate when the council stops by. I did want to bring up, well, let me go back. I don't want to forget the dog. Cody, our canine detection, was given an excellent award for the second quarter 2025 for exceptional detection. It was presented to Sergeant Kristen Pond and Canine Cody of the Niceville Police Department in recognition for outstanding performance in the detection and prevention of crime presented by the United States Police Canine Association. So we're proud of that. That dog's got an amazing nose and an amazing personality. Kristen does okay too. One, I did get a few questions, I don't remember from who, about electric bicycles. We did put out a public information notice on our website last week or the week before. We will be doing more education on that because there's more of them on the road, and some of them, if you read the publication we put out, they're not even electric bikes, they're actually classified motorcycles once they get to a certain wattage.
and speed capability. But if you have any questions on the law or other statistics, it's on that post that we put out. And we have one more award. I want to kind of show it off a little. But the Niceville Police Department took 3rd place in the state of Florida at a Florida Law Enforcement Traffic Safety Challenge. We were category 2, so that's based on size of departments in the state, and that was pretty impressive. They invited us down to Orlando. I think we sent 4 officers down there to go accept it and enjoy their hospitality. So we're proud of that. There you go. They did a good job. That's all I have, unless you have some questions. You know what, let me read one thing. I've got to be delicate about this because I can't give you names or specifics. But just to let the public know and be aware and some of the things we have going on out there. An officer last week was patrolling and saw a suspicious vehicle. Took the time to stop it. The person was just driving real slow and strange. The person immediately stops, put their arms out the window, and stated that you need to take me to jail because I'm out here to kill people. So we obviously took the person out of the car. He claimed that he was hunting people to kill them, and then he was going to kill himself. He was going to start with his family. They weren't home. They were out of state. Lucky for them. In his car, he had many weapons. Shotguns, pistols, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, magazines loaded up, the whole 9 yards. The officers not only did a good job there, but with the assistance of our attorney here, we did a confiscation temporarily of his weapons. It's called an RPO. And we did a search warrant on the house, and he had many, many more weapons and much more ammunition, things I can't even describe that were in this house on the wall. So my point of this is good job on the officers. They prevented probably a mass shooting that day, saved many lives, and he ended up ultimately being Baker-acted and some charges forthcoming. But just if you see something, say something. If you see something that even just looks a little strange, please call us, because there's some mentally challenged, mentally ill people out there that may have ill intentions, and we need to know about it. So don't be afraid to call us. That's my public safety awareness announcement. Any questions?
Chief, I'd like to thank you and your officers and also the community for being ever vigilant and preventing something like this from ever happening.
Thank you.
And I do want to say kudos to one of your officers. So on Friday night, we had somebody drop mattresses and box springs in the dumpster. We just have 16 cameras there at the church, including a license plate reader. So Sunday afternoon, I went to lunch and I called up the police department, talked to somebody, and I talked to Officer Hall. And I gave the license plate number, and he says, "Oh, I was dealing with him yesterday." I mean, the chances of that happening are pretty slim. And anyway, he just took the bull by the horns. He said, "Hey, send me the pictures, send me the videos." I'm at lunch. I sent them to him. He says, "Well, no, we're limited if you don't have a picture of who it was." But he went there, and just for anybody to know, he confessed. He said, "Yeah, I did it." And he said, "You got to get it out by 6 o'clock." And then we've got the video of them going and getting it, pulling it off. So I texted him back and just said, "Hey, great job." So I just want to put that out there and say, not only did this catastrophe get, avoided, but the little things too. I mean, it's, they would never have picked it up. They were 6 feet, out in the air. I don't know that Waste Management would have picked it up.
Right.
And it was mildew and everything else. So thank you to Officer Hall.
I appreciate it. I'll pass that on.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, Chief K.
Good evening. For the record, Chief Lewis, or Chief K. works. Thank you. Happy to be here in official capacity this time. So, giving all of you a copy of our report for this month. I did want to let you know there'll be a new format coming probably next month, so we've been working on a draft on that one. We'll have more of a dashboard with some of our analytics and data, but anyhow, I've put down most of the highlights here for you. For the sake of time, I'll just kind of summarize some of the important components, but we did have 166 emergency incidents we responded to last month in July. One was a reportable overdose. We conducted 17 fire inspections, had 7 failures amongst those. We participated in community events, the City Back to School Splash event with Niceville Police Department. Had a good time there. I think my boots are still drying out from that day, but we had a good time with all the kiddos out there. We did accept a donation flag from AMVETS. Thank them for that. I attended the Northwest Florida State College paramedic graduation ceremony. One of our own engineer, Jordan Perrin, was part of that, so she's now our 4th certified paramedic on staff, and we're just sending a 5th one now, so we're really hopeful that soon we'll have enough paramedic staff on board to initiate our advanced life support program, which will be a huge increased level of service that we provide to the city in the coming months, years, whenever we get that done. So, other department updates, we initiated a rebranding effort with the help of Shanitra, PIO, and something similar to what the police department recently did. We're just looking at changing some of our emblem logos on the engines, having a more regional approach, especially as we look at potentially a second station for the city. So that'll allow us to conform more with that. We're doing an SOP, SOG revision and updates. One of those is a ride-along policy. We kicked it over to legal at this point, but we've had a couple calls lately, people interested in ride-alongs, and I was surprised to find out that the Niceville Fire Department hasn't done those in the past. So that'll be something new where whether it's aspiring firefighters or just curious public want to come ride with us and see what firefighters do during the day, that'll be a future opportunity pretty soon. I did give you a copy of apparatus fleet replacement analysis we conducted. I am recommending, and I spoke with the manager about this, I think he's mentioned it to you as well, but as you may recall, we have a new aerial apparatus on order with Subfin that was approved last year, I believe. Did an analysis with some of the staff and looked at the data. In my opinion, and talking with most of our staff, we could reprioritize some of our efforts into different apparatus. So we are under a contractual obligation with them on that, but they've talked to the management over at Subfin. They're willing to let us do a change order on it, and what we're ultimately looking at, you can see some of the photos attached to that document, but rather than a singular aerial apparatus, we could acquire 3 vehicles for the same price of one, and one being an engine very similar to the engine we run out of Station 21 next door, a rescue apparatus, which right now our rescue is basically a dually pickup truck with pretty minimal equipment on it. This would be a more properly outfitted rescue that runs your medical calls, can have some advanced tools, extrication equipment, etc. And then a larger 4x4 brush truck type apparatus that would be appropriate for getting out in the range or any kind of wildfire responses. So all 3 of those apparatus would fill a more pressing need than the aerial apparatus that was previously on order. The one we have now is only 9 years old, so it still has some front service life left in it before we need to look at that. So we've started to adopt a recommended replacement schedule, kind of listed up top there. I can answer any questions on that here in just a minute. And then the last thing, I just wanted to let you all know that we're looking at scheduling an event called Fire Ops 101. It's something done nationally. Again, speaking with the manager about that. We're looking at potentially the week of October 20th to 26th, which is Florida City Week, but I'm going to pull all of you. It's designed for elected officials, policymakers, and even the media. It's an opportunity to come out for a day with firefighters and get in the gear, run you through some scenarios. If you have any interest in getting inside a burning building, cutting, doing extrication on a vehicle, a mock EMS call, just to kind of let you see exactly what they do day in, day out, put your hands on some of the tools and equipment that you ultimately authorize for us. So it's been a real successful opportunity in the past when I've done that in previous organizations, so we just want to extend that invitation. But again, I'll send more information out and see who's interested and available here pretty soon. With that, though, that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
I just have one. Are they going to penalize you for the change order?
We haven't, there's not a final answer yet. If it is, it sounds like it's going to be a de minimis amount, but I'd still recommend it, even if there's a small amount, because I think it's going to underservice at the end of the day. There's consideration that they might waive it altogether in favor of keeping us as a contestant.
Can we sell our spot in line?
we were doing too. That build was a 36-month build on that aerial apparatus, so we're still 2 years out if we were to stay course. With this change order, if we go to a more basic configuration of the engine like we have, it's more like a 12-month delivery. So it'll actually speed us up at the end of the day.
Are you gonna ask about their review? I'll ask. Did they survive and is it a repeat customer?
I was asked before the meeting, we did do a little bit of research on it. I believe, yes, they survived. We didn't do any advanced patient care, so we just handed off the county EMS. They don't have any, we didn't believe that it was a return customer. So.
Any other questions from the council? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Chief Laird, just the highlights for a second time. 3 minutes, that's what you do.
Never. All right, ready? Good evening, council, mayor, tonight, Wendy. I think I need to be a revote ever since you moved to night here. Lift station 20 liner repair was made. The following week, the liner split again. This is no cost to the city. This is totally on the engineers that work for the college. There's a new product they use. They took a sample of the sewer to lab for testing, which I've been meeting with public works officials about this. We do not believe there's anything wrong with the sewer. It's the product that they're using. So they got about 2 more days to make a decision, and we're going to get our company that's in here doing sewer lining to do it for them on no cost to the city. Gatorborn is going to start their last bore tomorrow on Highway 285 on the reused pipeline to Dearmoss Creek. Luscious County has laid approximately 3,000 feet. All the PMs on the generators are complete. Aquameter is in town replacing our meter reading system, which will take about 3 months. Our upgrade on our Greenbelt sewer from Cherrywood to College Boulevard is 95% complete, and Polly's working with James Walters, the procurement manager, to try to get this out for bid. This is in the budget. We're currently working with IT on a new camera system on all our wells and tanks for the safety of our residents. Number one thing Tara's hit is the water system, so we're working on camera systems. We're also cleaning up our well sites, putting up new fencing and trimming trees around all our wells. The 1 million gallon water tank in Dearmoss Creek, the bore samples have been completed, design should be ended in September, and construction should start with your blessing. Just say yes to approve the budget in October. Thank you. The new generator at lift station 71 on Russian River Way in Swift Creek was installed last week. Lift station 24 on the drive generator will be installed tomorrow. Our annual sewer work has begun. The crews are working in the Palm Estates area and should be completed by September 30th. It is a budgeted item. Well number 2 is back online. We passed 10 consecutive water samples and is ready to go. We have installed new software in our camera truck for up-to-date info on GIS integration and web backup. I'd like to thank IT for helping us on this project. The next couple of days, you'll see a outside eastbound lane, the next couple of weeks, working on the permit right now on DOT. We got to replace a valve on the outside eastbound lane of Highway 20 and Jones Avenue. So, working with DOT on the permit now, and L30 will do the lane closure for us. 46 water calls, 30 sewer calls, 12 water taps, 8 sewer taps, 497 line spots, changed out 20 meters, and completed 486 service orders. Atlantic Pipe Services are on the last stormwater pipeline on Pine Court, which has been a total catastrophe. The other 2 jobs on Ponte Vedra and Juniper Avenue are complete. We have completed our MS4 permit for the discharge of stormwater, and they're effective, good to go, another 5 years until 2030. Myself and 2 other teammates renewed our stormwater inspection license, which we completed, so we give another 5 years, we got to update our inspection license. We're completing our last section of sidewalk on Lily Drive, installing the driveway, replacing the driveways, connecting sidewalks on the north end of Bailey. Hope to be done by the end of the month. We signed our yearly contract with Weber Services, a contractor for DOT, for maintaining the state right-of-ways, Highway 285, 20, 85, which we got a 5% increase, and we're gonna make about a little over $53,000 revenue for that this year. We're currently working with Chief Hayes on a traffic study on Powell Drive between Reynolds and Juniper for the installation of speed bumps. The Hill Lane Road extension started yesterday. They hope to have that completed before September the 30th. Construction services on Palm Boulevard, finishing up the MUP. They completed, we had about 5 more driveways to complete. They had 3 of them done this week. So we're looking to be done wrapping that up in the next couple of weeks. Hey, you listening?
I am.
Valprize those sidewalks.
2 weeks.
Well, so last week, 2 weeks ago, the county sent back the plans for a revision of the eastern end, just a little bit of stormwater. So we revised them, sent them back. Commissioner Virginia will get it up to the surtax committee and out for bid. So it's still not out for bid yet.
Okay, man. Sorry, I did look over. I got distracted for a second.
Half Engineering have been working with Oakland County officials on a few roundabouts on that Palm Boulevard and on that Cedar Avenue. The design is about 30% complete. We're reviewing the utilities in that area as we speak. So we got that. The MUPO. Friday, I had a conversation with Chris Lejeune, the surtax chairman from Oakland County. So the MUP from Forest to College, from College to Forest, from Forest to Rocky Valley Drive, has been awarded to C.W. Roberts and will start in September. I would like to thank the Midway Rotary for the $10,000 grant on the renovation of the Turkey Creek bathrooms on the south end. Mr. Wayne Cheatham and Dave Swarnick have been a great partner in getting this grant. We'll look to start this in later October when the park isn't so crowded. So get a new installation of new bathrooms down there. Starting yesterday, August 11, 2025, the Children's Park will be closing half a day every other Monday for maintenance. We finally got all of Wendy's storage units cleaned out. So now we have no more rentals on any storage unit in the city. So everything is moved up to our new storage unit at the skate park. So it saved the city some good money. I would like to thank the Niceville High School football team for another great year of Serve Week. This is a yearly project they do in helping public works with different projects around the city. Coach Morgan does a really good job with these young student athletes, and I'd like to thank the Niceville High School football team for all they do each and every year in the middle of July for the city. Shining penny of the night, well, it's Ronald Matthews. So Ronald Matthews was our lead well operator for 32 years and lost his life on July 10th. Unexpectedly. It's been a huge loss for the city and he'll be remembered forever. Code compliance, 37 cases, 15 closed cases, 10 open cases, 11 courtesies, 4 ongoing, and 1 warning. So they're off and running, doing a great job. That's what I got.
Jonathan, I see the one no work permit. And Dana Point, what was that? No work permit? At the bottom of your chart, just above the green line.
Looks like they're trying, I don't know if I'm gonna get with Ross on that. I'll get with you.
Jonathan, I have a question for you. Going back to your streets.
Sorry. I know the answer to the question about Dana Point. He was doing stucco work on the house without a permit. So Ross went out there and did a stop work order. They came in, purchased a permit, and then they were able to do the work.
Thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
Jonathan, I have a question. Going back to your streets, you said a section on half engineering has been passed to Okaloosa County officials to engineer 2 roundabouts on College Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
And one is at Palm and College. There's a traffic light there right now?
Yes, we're gonna be putting in roundabouts, taking that traffic signal out, putting in a roundabout at Palmer College, and adding one at Cedar College.
Okay.
We can all learn how to use roundabouts, it's okay.
Now you ain't taking it.
Stop there, right?
I love it.
There's the culprit.
Roundup, traffic lights cause traffic. Roundabouts do not.
I like it.
About people over there,
And College Boulevard is all county right there.
just in front of the college. The rest of it's an easement given to Okaloosa County by the Eglin Air Force Base.
Thank you.
It,
Good job.
Thank you, Jonathan.
thank you.
All right, Wendy, where are we at on our agenda? Building permits?
Well, H1, if there's anything that the city council has.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
H1, if there's anything that the city council has.
Okay. City council items. Mr. Tolbert, do you have anything?
No.
Ms. Alley?
Nope.
I don't have anything. Mr. Rominger and Mr. Stauffer?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I do have one thing. We need more men to sign up for the dragon boat races so we can win.
Are we gonna win?
Yes, but we need more men to sign up. Right now it's mostly women, so you men need to sign up.
Quiet, very quiet.
Just saying, it's in September. You guys need to sign up. Like, there's like several men up. I signed up, you men can sign up. Okay, that's my job.
Okay. Thank you for that information. So I'd like to go on then with the H2, motion authorized. Wendy, would you please read it?
Motion authorizing the city manager to enter negotiations with Northwest Florida State College for an easement on NWFSC property for well number 12, and authorizing the city manager to enter negotiations with the NWFSC Foundation for the creation of endowment for Niceville students.
Looking for a motion to approve or disapprove?
A motion to enter negotiations, that's all the motion's for, we don't need the details, it's just negotiations.
Yes, sir. Are you making a motion?
Second.
Okay. First and second, anyone on council have any discussion on this?
Why, we have 2 topics here, the easement and then the endowment.
It's all combined, sir. So the proposal that the college leadership and I have been working on is we are requesting the Board of Trustees allow us an easement on the college property to install well 12. That property was appraised for $168,000. And the proposal is, in lieu of paying the college $168,000 to put into their operating fund, in lieu of doing that, we give the college foundation $168,000 to create a perpetual endowment for Niceville students who attend Northwest Florida State College.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of I guess that's just the trade-off for that then, obviously.
Yes, sir, but on their end. It's you know, it's no different for us. You know, the benefit to Niceville, you know, this is a win-win-win. We protect our aquifer by moving our well, and we get to educate kids in perpetuity with this money, as opposed to the college putting it in their operating fund and in 1 year it disappears.
Okay. Any other questions from council? Anyone in the audience like to come before on this issue? Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to call for the vote. Mr. Stauffer?
Yes.
Mr. Rominger?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzels, yes. Ms. Sally?
Yes.
And Mr. Tolbert?
Yes.
Thank you. Wendy, would you take us on to H4 then, since we've already completed H3?
Yes, sir. Recommendation to award and authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Sewell Construction LLC, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $2,750,000 $2,853,257.22 for the Niceville Landing Phase 1 project. Bid evaluation was conducted by Procurement Services in coordination with the engineer of record, and the firm's proposal is deemed to be in the best interest of the city.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion by the council on this?
Just clarification for the audience,
Yes.
that it's TDD and CRA.
Yeah, for the benefit of the audience, this is the bid for the dock and pier that's gonna go be installed down at the landing off of Bayshore Drive, right there in front of Post 20 and, it's not Blue Valley Cafe anymore, what is it? Anyway, down there at the landing park, this is for the dock and pier. This dock and pier is paid for partially by CRA money and partially by TDD money.
Thank you.
I'd also like to make a public call out to Kristen Schell for, this has been 12 years, right? She's been here a year and has gotten more accomplished in that year than the previous 12.
100%.
And so I'm really thankful for her pushing this and guiding this and helping this, because this is a landmark change for the city of Niceville by putting this 125-ish foot pier dock that goes out into the water for residents to enjoy. As far as the county's concerned, a tourist destination, since we're using TV dollars to pay for it with. But I think it's a move in the right direction, and it's just the start for this CRA initiative. So it's getting the CRA moving forward in the right direction that we've been working on for a very long time.
Thank you.
There are some drawings that we have.
They're on the website.
Be on the CRA website.
On the CRA website.
And it's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, you need to go on and look at it because it's beautiful.
And estimated completion date, or estimated construction time, probably a better way to put it. Kristen?
270
270
days.
days is the construction time. It'll probably take us 30 days to finalize the contract, so what is that, 300 days?
Next summer is when it happens. So, thank you very much. Anybody in the audience have any questions on this one? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I'd like to have a vote on this one. Mr. Stouffer?
Yes.
Mr. Robinger?
Yes.
Mr. Shassel, yes. Ms. Alley?
Yes.
And Mr. Toller?
Yes.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that completes the agenda for tonight, with the exception of an open forum. So this is your opportunity as citizens to come forward to us, and please, if you do have anything that you want to bring to our attention, please state your name and address, and we're going to be in the receive mode, including Mr. Dietz, and it's going to be 3 minutes, and I'll time you. I'll give you a warning if you come close to 3 minutes. If there's somebody else in front of you that says the same thing that you want to do, please honor that information, and we'll move on to the next person. So anybody in the audience like to come forward at this time, please do so. Raise your hand.
Does the Boy Scout in the back have to publicly address us to get credit for this?
Yeah, I'm sorry on that. Could I ask the young scout man to stand up and introduce yourself and what Boy Scout club, what Boy Scout organization you are with? Sorry, sir?
I am Aiden from Troop 553. So I'm Aiden from Troop 553. And
Are you getting a badge for this?
I'm here for my communications mayor badge.
Good.
And have you got your city pin yet?
I have one from here. I've done this. I was here for citizenship in the community before, and I have the badge from here, but I'm bad.
And I'm so sorry I didn't hear what organization, what scout organization you're with. Troop number.
I'm from Troop 553.
And they're located where?
Maybe they.
Blue Water Community
question for you. Did you get this Diamond Tower business card before you left? Because he's in communications. No? All right.
Good job.
Anybody else in the audience? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We're adjourned.